Ever wonder where the actual magic happens when you click a button on a website? Is it all in your browser or somewhere far away in the digital ether? Understanding this fundamental split is like having a superpower for debugging, building, and even communicating effectively with other developers. It's the bedrock of modern web development. By the end of this video, you'll not only know the difference, but also have a solid grasp of how front-end and back-end dance together to create the web experiences you use every day. Chapter 1. The browser isn't everything front-end. Okay, so let's kick things off with the front end. This is what you see and interact with: the buttons, the text, the images. It's built with HTML for structure, CSS for style, and JavaScript for interactivity. Honestly, I think most beginners get a decent grasp of this part first because it's so visual and immediately rewarding. Real talk, when we say front end, we're almost always talking about code that runs directly on your device in your web browser. Your computer downloads these files, HTML, CSS, JS, and then executes them locally. This is why you can sometimes see a website, even without an internet connection after it's fully loaded, because your browser already has everything it needs to render that page. Hot take: while front-end gives you immediate visual feedback, it's kind of an illusion of control. Any data you see, any complex calculation you need, usually isn't happening entirely in your browser. It's just displaying what it's told to display, and any crucial logic must be handled elsewhere for security and reliability. I genuinely think this client-side execution is often underestimated for its power, but also its critical limitations. Chapter 2. The server isn't just a database, backend. Okay, let's flip the coin to the backend. This is the server side, the stuff you don't see. Think of it as the brain, the engine room, the wizard behind the curtain. It's where your data lives, where complex business logic is processed, and where security rules are enforced. Major backend languages include Python, Node.js, Java, and Go, powering everything from Netflix to Google. This is where the heavy lifting happens. User authentication, backend. Processing payments, backend. Storing your cat pictures, definitely backend. The server receives requests from your front end, does its thing, maybe talks to a database, runs some algorithms, and then sends back a response. Honestly, the sheer scale and complexity that backend systems can handle is mind-boggling. It's where the real architectural challenges often lie. A quick side note: backend is also where critical security measures are implemented. Never trust data coming directly from the front end. Always validate and sanitize it on the server. Around 70% of web application attacks target backend vulnerabilities, according to OWASP reports. Plus, backend systems are designed for scalability, handling thousands, even millions of concurrent users. Chapter 3. The communication gap, APIs. Plot twist: front-end and back-end don't just know how to talk to each other. They need a translator, a common language. That's where APIs come in, application programming interfaces. Think of an API as a menu in a restaurant. The front-end you makes a request, and the back-end kitchen prepares the dish and sends it back. REST APIs are incredibly popular, with an estimated 92% of organizations using them. Here's where it gets really interesting. If you've ever wondered about becoming full stack or optimizing performance, this next part is for you. This is where the rubber meets the road. Most of the time, this communication happens over HTTP, the same protocol your browser uses to load web pages. The front-end sends an HTTP request, and the back-end sends back an HTTP response. This response often contains data formatted as JSON, which JavaScript in the front-end can easily understand and display. I genuinely think understanding HTTP methods, get post, put, delete, is one of the most underrated skills for new developers. It unlocks so much. Some devs swear by REST, others are moving towards GraphQL. GraphQL lets the front-end ask for exactly the data it needs. No more, no less, which can be super efficient. It's a debate, for sure, but the core idea is still the same: structured communication between your client and your server. It's about finding the right tool for the job, not just following the latest hype. Chapter 4. Beyond the basics, full stack and performance. Okay, so what about full stack developers? It doesn't mean you're an expert in everything, but rather that you understand how both sides work and can build across the entire application. It's about connecting the dots, not mastering every single dot. Honestly, being truly full stack is a journey, not a destination. Don't feel pressured to know everything day one. When your website feels slow, who's to blame? Both. Front-end performance involves optimizing rendering, asset loading, and JavaScript execution. Back-end performance means efficient database queries, fast API responses, and scalable server infrastructure. It's a team sport, not a blame game. Studies show that a 100 milliseconds delay in load time can decrease conversion rates by 7%. One of my biggest frustrations is latency. That tiny delay when you click something and it takes a moment to respond. That's often network latency between your front-end and the back-end. Companies like Amazon have found that every 100 milliseconds of latency costs them 1% in sales. It's a constant battle to minimize those round trips and make the user experience feel instant. Chapter 5. My take: where to start. Here's the deal. There's no single best place to start. If you're visually oriented, love design, and want immediate feedback, front-end is a fantastic entry point. You see your changes instantly. If you're more logical, enjoy problem-solving behind the scenes, and love working with data, back-end might be your jam. I genuinely think try a bit of both early on is crucial. You might surprise yourself with what clicks. Unpopular opinion: I think too many beginners try to jump straight into full-stack frameworks without a solid grasp of the fundamentals of either front-end or back-end. Learn the basics first, then connect the dots. Don't be afraid to specialize initially. A recent survey showed 65% of junior developers feel overwhelmed by the sheer number of technologies to learn. Start small, build solid foundations. Ultimately, both front-end and back-end are constantly evolving, fascinating fields. The most successful developers I know have a deep understanding of one and a solid working knowledge of the other. Go build something, anything, and you'll naturally start exploring both sides. The journey of a developer is never ending, and that's what makes it so exciting. Let's recap. Front-end code runs in your browser, handling the user interface and experience. Back-end code runs on servers, managing business logic, data, and security. APIs act as the crucial communication bridge, typically using HTTP and JSON. Full-stack development involves understanding and working across both front-end and back-end. Performance is a shared responsibility, requiring optimization on both client and server sides. The key takeaways start by focusing on one side, front-end or back-end, that genuinely interests you, but always learn the fundamentals of the other. Prioritize understanding API design and communication patterns. It's the glue that holds the web together. Never trust client-side data. Always validate and sanitize inputs on the back-end for robust security. Embrace continuous learning. The web development landscape is always evolving on both fronts. If this helped you finally untangle the front end from the back end, consider supporting the channel. Every bit helps keep these videos free for everyone. Drop a comment with your thoughts on which side you find more exciting or what your biggest aha moment was.